Hello there, and I wish you a great day. Let's get right to the guide. Sword and Shield in Monster Hunter Rise received many changes, and you will notice them quickly if you played Monster Hunter World or any prior title. First, I'm going to talk about the regular combos you want to use in a fight, and afterwards about the wirebug moves. I also discuss the pros and cons of each move briefly, to give you an idea why you might want or might not want to use them. First up is going to be the classic A combo consisting of the lateral slash, return stroke, spinning rising slash, and as a new addition, the spinning reaper, which doesn't just sound awesome, but will see a lot of use. The combo itself is fairly strong and actually slightly stronger than the next combo, but as of right now, it doesn't see a lot of usage due to sharpness management, which you will hear a lot throughout this entire video, as armor sets unfortunately are quite stingy. Therefore, sharpness managing skills such as razor sharpness or handicraft are too expensive to slot in. Additionally, the reaping spinner allows you to turn around 180 degrees, which makes it great for positioning as well as dealing high damage. The second combo shows a previously rarely seen one, the shield bash combo. It's also an A combo, but the only difference is you have to press forwards on the very first hit. It can also be followed up by the Spinning Reaper, which gives it a nice edge on damage. In Rise, this combo received a buff in damage and its speed. As you're attacking with the shield, you're not going to utilize any element nor status, but in return you deal a buttload of KO damage and you don't use up sharpness, which goes hand in hand with the buff to monsters KO, which means they usually last longer than they did in World, and on top of that, saving sharpness means you don't have to sharpen as often or even invest into sharpness skills to begin with. You can also swap out the shield bashes for the drill slash combo, a new addition to Rise. It starts off the same but then transitions into a thrust and afterwards the drill slash. Once again you can follow it up with the spinning reaper. This combo allows you to proc a lot of elemental damage and status quickly. It's stronger than the shield combo even if built for raw damage, and has a buffed elemental modifier built into it. Due to the high raw and elemental damage on this combo, you will want to focus on raw first, and through level 1 decorations on the respective element. Right now the combo doesn't see a lot of use, as the sharpness depletes very quickly on it and doesn't provide nearly as much KO damage. But once the meta advances, or we get better gear throughout the upcoming title updates, you can expect this combo to become a lot stronger than it currently is. Moving on to the good old Perfect Rush. It's been the move to go for in Iceborne due to insanely high damage output, but it has been nerfed significantly in Rise. All the tricks you knew about it stayed the same, but aside from that, the finisher swapped out. Instead of clutching onto the monster, you now transition into the Falling Bash or into the Spinning Reaper. Due to the speed of Spinning Reaper and the astonishing inaccuracy of the Perfect Rush finisher, 9 out of 10 times you want to use the former option. Alternatively, you can enter the Perfect Rush through a newly added guard point, but without skill investments, it will almost always fail, and sadly, guard skill points currently are not worth it. Perfect Rush is almost only used when a monster is toppled, KO'd, or trapped. And now to the 3 wirebug moves. The first one is the Falling Shadow. It costs 1 wirebug and has almost no cooldown on it. It's great for quick repositioning if the monster decided to jump across the map again, or for quick punishes. The hitbox of it starts shortly after performing it, so if you're directly standing in front of a monster, it will often miss and launch you behind the monster's back. Happened to me a few times. Once it hits, it also has iframes, which means you can dodge through attacks and roars. It can transition either into the Falling Bash or the Plunging Thrust, though I'd stick to the Falling Bash. The damage coming from this move compared to any shown combo is lacking and shouldn't be spammed. The second wirebug move is the Windmill, costing 2 wirebugs with a rather slow cooldown. Immediately upon using it, you have a lot of iframes throughout the majority of its animation, and is great to get into Sword and Shield as it can't be punished by monsters as easily. Both in damage and in sharpness management, it falls flat to its interchangeable counterpart, though if you heavily focus on element, which I wouldn't recommend, will be decently stronger. The main issue lies within it hitting 7 times with your blade, which melts your sharpness gauge. Its counterpart and the last wirebug move, Metsu Shoryugeki, or just Shoryuken, has both incredibly high damage scaling and doesn't use up sharpness. Why? Because it's a shield attack. Just like earlier, it won't consume sharpness, won't proc elements, but the KO damage on this thing is amazing. The best part about it, if you get hit while charging it up, you will unleash a counter, empowering the move and KO damage in the process. Be wary though, as lingering hitboxes are still able to hit you after you have successfully countered their move, and due to acting like a block, has to face the incoming attack. It can feel very janky at times, but is 100% worth it. A neat little trick you can perform is place a large barrel bomb in front of you, hit the first A slash, and with a tiny delay, use the Shoryuken after. This allows you to proc your own counter, which is amazing if the monster's downed and can't attack you. Why haven't I mentioned the other moves? Sadly, Sword and Shield has a plethora of moves that are not good enough to be used frequently. Whether you want to use Advancing Slash or Sliding Slash is up to you. The Sliding Slash can follow up with a Falling Bash and upon hitting also has iframes, but uses the weak version of Falling Bash, which is the same that you perform manually by backhopping instead of using the wirebug. It's too weak to be used and should be avoided entirely. Lastly, the classic X combo from old Monster Hunters won't see a return in this game either. No matter which build you go for, the damage output of this combo is simply too low. When should I use which combo? If you want to get into Sword and Shield, I would recommend the Shield combo span due to its high speed and easy access to KOs, making the hunt overall a lot easier to manage. Even at advanced play, you currently see it being used more often than the Drill Slash combo due to the drawbacks I went over earlier. If you have to decide between those two, I'd personally go for the Shield combo until we receive better gear. In case this changes in the future due to title updates, changing the meta and sharpness management became easier, feel free to disregard what I said. Choosing between the Windmill and Shoryuken is very easy. If you're playing solo, I would always choose Shoryuken, even if it's not reliable or not effective against many monsters' moves. Its damage boost can be procced by yourself or just be splashed into any combo without caring about the counter mechanic. In case you do proc the counter boost through a large barrel bomb, make sure to slot in Bombardier 3 into your set. For obvious reasons, please don't use the bomb strategy in multiplayer, unless you want to piss off somebody. The bomb strategy might get patched out at some point if Capcom feels like it, though it's hard to predict. If you're playing multiplayer, Shoryuken will fall off due to monsters not targeting you all the time, and you have way easier openings for sharpening, making the Windmill slightly more appealing. Which playstyle should I go for? All of Sword and Shield's moves endorse you to be aggressive. It is not a passive weapon. Once you start to become very passive, your damage will take a huge hit. You might get hit more often, but being aggressive will teach you when to use which moves and how to stick to the monster. This might be a lot harder to implement in multiplayer due to the random nature of it, but in single player, an aggressive playstyle gets rewarded with high damage. Let the Unga Bunga guide you. Thank you so much for watching the guide, and I hope you enjoyed it as well as I hope it helped you. Sword and Shield is an extremely fun and creative weapon, and I can only recommend you to at least give it a try. I myself am uploading a lot of different Sword and Shield speedruns against many different monsters, so if you like to see Sword and Shield in action, I'd be happy if you subscribe for more future content. Even if you don't, I wish you an amazing day, hope you are doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.